Welcome back, guys, to episode number 35 of Factorio Recursion. Last episode we're going to do for quite a while, maybe forever, but definitely for quite a while, because we're going to try out the C-Block mod pack, and that should be showing up on my channel within the next week or so. But we've got a few things to finish up for the base. Last episode we started doing some concrete customization for just the cosmetic look of the base, and I did a lot of work. Basically everything I had done that time, except for putting the actual concrete down, has been replaced, refined, updated, and so this is the way it looks now. I'm really happy with the way this area looks, and I also started to detail some of these this train stacker over here. All this detailing is not finalized. I'm just sort of fiddling with stuff. You know, it's not symmetrical in any respect. I like the way that the walls look around the train drop-off. Starting to look really nice. And then over here, I added the rainbow lights for when the trains show up. In fact, we are missing one train. Here it comes right. Oh, it's going to the other side. Okay, let's run over here and see if we can see it. Hit the stacker. Okay, there it went. Hit the stacker. For whatever reason, whenever the trains are, whenever they're stationary over the gates and the gates are lowered, that does not maintain a signal. It doesn't maintain a signal. You can see the lights turn off as soon as the train shows up, which is unfortunate. At least we get the cool little, here we see it again. Okay, yeah, just a neat little cosmetic effect for when the trains show up. But anyway, we've launched about 150 satellites. We're working on worker robot speed 11. Here's our bonuses we have. We currently have a robot speed of 565%. Cargo plus 3. That speed's going to get a bit faster. They're going really fast. Okay, well, we got a few things to take care of. So, last episode I mentioned that the bottleneck is the red circuits. You can see them trickling through there. And trickling through here. And it looks like they're going so slow because they are the slowest thing. We could speed them up. And so I spent some time working on the layout. And we started working on it here. And doing some calculations. I also was going to give a slight buff to the blue circuits, just very small. And I was going to do this kind of layout and just ×4. And I started doing some calculations on what we would need to support it. And it turns out we're going to need an extra 2 belts of green circuits to support that. So out here, I could definitely manage that. We can use the logistics robots to pull the ore and bring them into one of these factories. And then recursion stuff, that part's not so bad. The hard part is finding the room on this factory to get the belts in. And then once we get the green circuits in, it's going to just cause even more headaches, because then something else is going to be slow, and I just can't handle it. And so I've decided that that's it for this base. We're going out in style. See you later, base. No recursioning of nothing. Everything's going down. Only joking. So, the last major objective to achieve for the base is to recursion our power supply, which is this nuclear power facility. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to make a new layout for our nuclear that's going to be more efficient. When we started this thing, I don't think I was capable of making these tier 3 factories very fast. And we can do a lot more now than we used to be able to. We are going to... Oh, and by the way, we are starting to run low. Every time I use nuclear missiles, I start to run low on these things. And, yeah, this is... As long as I don't make more nuclear bombs, this is going to last a pretty long time. Eventually, we will need to mine up some new uranium. But we are going to keep this design because it works pretty well. We're going to pick this guy up when we have our new layout. We're going to plop him down inside of our base. So this is going to handle all of the refining of our uranium ore into the 235, 238, and into the fuel cells. And while I'm here, do we have enough iron? Yeah, we still have iron supplying this. When it's inside the base, it'll be easier to do that. We can hook it up directly, and I'll never have to come back here and check to see if there's iron in here to make the fuel cells out of. But in case you forget how the nuclear power works, you start with these nuclear reactors, and you feed them the uranium fuel cells, and that heats them up a lot. And then you take the heat, and you run it down these heat pipes, and you use those to heat up the heat exchangers. The heat exchangers heat water, so the water's coming in through here. and turns the water into steam. Steam goes through here. Steam goes to the steam turbines. That part's pretty simple. And the ratios can be, maybe some people find them intimidating. Let's go over it real quick. So one of these nuclear reactors, every one of these guys generates 40 megawatts of power if it's being fueled with a uranium fuel cell. But the important thing to note is that they get a adjacency bonus if they have a reactor next to them, and every reactor next to them, they get 100%. So basically, they're insulating each other, so they're more efficient with their heat. So right now, we're getting a neighbor bonus of 200%, and so that means instead of 40 megawatts, we are outputting 140 megawatts per reactor, so 480 total. We've got to transfer that into steam. These guys, they take 10 megawatts, so every one of these guys is feeding 12 of these. We've got 48. And then you just do a little bit of math. So these guys, based on the amount of steam they consume per second, they output 5.8 megawatts. So you just do some math. We've got 480 megawatts of production here. We need to transform that into electricity. You divide 480 by 5.8 and you get, I think, 83 or 85 or however many is in there. That's how many we're using. But now that we have a bigger area, we can make a better system, and so we can get a better adjacency bonus for our nuclear. Let's run in here to where the new location of the nuclear is going to be, right up here. All right, so after spending some time tinkering around with all the different pieces, I have an idea of how we're going to approach this layout. It's going to be a little bit more awkward than some of our others because you cannot recursion the heat. It will not connect through the different levels, and so I can't split things up as much as I'd like. We're going to have the reactors and the heat exchangers all in one building. We also need to bring in water, and we need a high throughput system, so we'll need at least one column of pipes and like storage tanks to change directions. And we'll also need to take the steam out, so probably that's like a second row. Maybe not a consistent second row, but we need space for tanks. And so I've left some extra space. Originally, I thought maybe we could do it in bundles of 12 or even 16, but I think bundles of 10 is going to work out okay, so we have room for the tanks. We're going to have a row of the reactors down the middle, and I'm just going to try to plan out the maximum amount of space that we can fit, and that should be more than enough power for Recursion as it exists. So this is more or less what the layout will look like, minus the tanks and the other steam and water piping. And I did the calculations. We've got 14 reactors, and this is going to generate 2.08 gigawatts of power for our base. Our previous setup used 16 reactors, so 2 more reactors, and it generated like 1.9 gigawatts. And I've decided that this is too fiddly to be worth it. We are getting only like, yes, we're using 2 fewer reactors, but we're only getting a little bit more than 100 megawatts in addition to what we were generating before. And every time I need to scale up and add more, it's going to be way more fiddly than our previous iteration. So I think what we're going to do, we are actually going to scrap this idea, and we are going to use the design that I already have that works great. And that is very good for adding power in increments. And there's probably some of you saying it's not as efficient, and to that I say I don't care. Uranium is not hard to get in large quantities. We've been surviving this entire time on the original uranium patch that we had to begin with, and we can get more ore in large quantities. And yeah, it's never been an issue. It will never be an issue. Let's see, what am I coming here for? So we need some of these guys so we can lay stuff out. Let's just get like 7 of them. And we are going to use the design, and the great thing about the design we have been using is it's very easy to scale up. And anytime I just want to add a bit more power, we just plop down another one of these blue buildings, and I don't have to worry about recursioning the steam. The steam is self-contained in each of these things. It never leaves the building. So we just need a better method of delivering water to these guys, but basically we can use the same design. Bam! Look at that! Now that is a sexy layout. Each one of these buildings will provide 480 megawatts. We're currently using 4 of them, so like 1.9 gigawatts. And if I ever need 8 of them, we'll have room for 8 of them. So almost like 3.8, 3.9 gigawatts, something like that. We need to bring in more than that. I need to start bringing in more water. We'll need a different layout. And maybe eventually bottling the, or is that barreling? Not bottling. We don't got bottles here. We have barrels. We will need to start barreling the water to provide even more power in the distant future. But for now, let's grab a, important note. In order to make it easier to get the water into the bottom set of 4, we're going to rotate the blueprint. So it's going to face up here, and it's going to face the normal way there. But we need to move the whole thing down because we need room for our... We need room for the guy that is processing everything. All of the ore. And he's going to go more or less right about there. Ore is going to come in one of these. We also need to bring in some iron. And we need to return the empty fuel cells. And just so I have a reference that it fits, let's do something like that. Okay, so we just need a little bit of space. Doesn't need to be a ton. Enough to run around would be good. Let's go ahead and, I guess to make it line up with the pumps, needs to be either like this. All right, like that it is. There we go. Okay, don't get stuck in the middle of the pumps. Lovely. Oh, and I guess you can't place these. Okay, I can't place these with blueprints. That's fine. I think there was some kind of bug or there's some reason I remember reading about that. But it's okay. We don't need it. And here it is. This is the water supply for our nuclear facility. We are just north of the island, pretty close. We've got enough for to supply 4 full lines. I'm still in the map mode, that's why that looked weird. 4 full lines, and all the trains load double fast, so they've each got 2 pumps per little wagon. Now we just need to go back to the base, set up the trains to get them running, and then just move our nuclear power and hope we don't get attacked in the meantime. Now that we're back at the base and we've got the trains all laid out, let's turn them all on. But first I need to copy the schedule and the colors. Oh, look at that pretty blue. I love it. That's a really nice color. Kind of cobalty. Okay, turn this one on. Almost let him leave without copying his information. All these guys. There we go. And then we will wait for some water to get back. Make sure that my water filtration system, or, you know, just the distribution of it and moving it through the base, make sure that all works. Okay, autosave. Thank you very much. Oh, let's zoom up here. I did not put a radar back. Okay, I cannot see exactly what's going on. But that should fill up very quickly. Here's the trains coming in. First one should be taking off right about now. There we go. Okay, very nice. Now the train will be coming back. Really should have put the radar back. The stacker here is not big enough to hold all these trains, but they will quickly fill up and they will sit in this stacker more than anything. I will have to go back and add more spots to it because I just copied the stacker from our other water depot, which doesn't need quite as many trains. Anyway, here comes the first one. So all these should... Hey! Oh, no, this is still the stacker unloaded. Okay, but this is the first one that is actually full. Inventory is not full. Or it's not empty. Good. Okay, look how quickly that unloaded. And he will be headed back to the water station again. Yeah, okay, I guess it worked out all right. Even though the stacker is not big enough, I've had enough that I've already gone through. And there's a little bit of extra space there. Okay, let's go check out the interior, just to make sure that that all worked. And then we will start moving the actual meat and potatoes. 13K, yeah, it looks pretty good. We'll need to move that. All right, so let's go grab our nuclear stuff. And hope we don't get attacked too much in the time it takes me to move. I suppose we could do it kind of one piece at a time, but I think we're going to do it all at once. We're just going to go for it. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? So we need to move. Oh, I'll have to figure out the iron situation once we get back. So I guess I'm just going to pick up that. We need these 4 guys. 5, 6. I have enough slots in my inventory. And I will clean up the rest of this later. Our base now no longer has power. Pick up that guy. And you know what? While we're here, let's pick up the rest of the nuclear thingies. And we can jumpstart everything with those. Pretty good. Because we're not going to have power for a bit, so we will need to... There we go. They will need to heat up one at a time, I guess. Actually, is this gonna backfire? Because we need power to start these guys. But they should still be heated up once I pop them back down. They should be in, like... as long as we don't take too long. Yeah, this is a little bit scary. Let us hurry up before we start getting attacked. So we've already got one here. We will need one here. And we'll put down a few, and then we're actually going to have to pick up the... I'll put them down, but then we're going to have to pick up everything on the interior. So, oh, that's the refinery area. We're going to have to pick up everything on the interior so that... Okay, yeah, we've got one little guy. So that we can flip the blueprint. Let's run outside. I just want to look at the map, because yes, we are getting attacked. We should have power, though, right? Oh, we don't, because... I know what happened. Okay, so this needs to be... There. Whew! And let's make sure... Okay, that says... Let's just bump it up to 5 gigawatts. Okay, now we should have recovered. Needed to do that. No? Does this need to be like this? Yeah, that one needs to be out. There we go. Okay. So we... Oh my goodness. Okay, the wall has been breached. Let me quickly grab some walls and run down there. We need to take care of this. It took too long. We should be okay. The research, I have not started a new research. We just need... we need some walls. Some turrets. I think that's it. Okay. All right, buttheads. Have a little piece of this. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Okay, robots fix this stuff. Then we have to get back to the base. We got to get back to the base, and we have to put down our refinery before we run out of fuel cells. We're getting attacked somewhere else. It's here. Anywhere else? No, only here. Okay, looks like all that got repaired. Is all this repaired? Looks like it. Are there still... there's a robo port. Is there robots in this system? I'm not for certain. Okay, but I can come back and check on... Oh, there we go. More needs to be repaired. Yeah, it looks like there's no logistics bots in this... Oh, we need construction bots, not logistics bots. Okay, and that's been recovered. I guess I picked them up or something. Okay. We averted disaster. Let's get back to the base and finish this up. Okay, guys, so about a day has passed since that last clip when we got attacked and the walls were breached and all that. It turns out to be a bad idea to try to transition power all at once. So instead of doing that, what I've done is I still have the power outside, and I've set up some additional power inside to try to transition more gradually. And yeah, that was a good idea to try to do it like that. Unfortunately, I just cannot get this system to work properly. I've spent many hours reconfiguring this, as I think I said at the beginning of the clip. It's been about a day I've been tinkering with this, trying to get it to work. I just cannot get it to work. If you look at these pipes, there's barely any water getting out to them. It may be because I'm trying to push water too far from the source. There are some diminishing returns I talked about in the past if you just link pipes up to each other. It's possible I've just got too many of these guys trying to push from one to another, and there's some kind of loss we're experiencing. This entire building should take slightly more than half of one of these pumps. One of these pumps' throughput should be able to almost power both of these guys, but neither of them are really getting, like, very much water. You can see half of our steam turbines, they're not operating at all because there's no water. And I've tried reconfiguring it a number of times, try and reinforce it, try to push things through faster, and I just can't get it to work. There's something I'm not understanding, and I think in the future, if we come back to this base after messing around with C-Block, and if I want to try to scale it up with more of the robots in more of the different layers, we're going to have to barrel the water. I think that would solve the problem. I think the only thing I can think of is that must be some kind of issue. Another tiny concern is that because we're pulling mostly from the left side, that this drains first, and so this is emptying while we're waiting for this guy to finish emptying. But I don't think that's really it, because if you look at the numbers here, these never really empty out before this guy gets here. And it's not like we're only getting half of the water we need. We're barely getting anything. I think it must be because I'm just chaining too many of these pumps together. So in the future, it's a little bit anticlimactic because I wanted this to work. I don't think it's going to work. So we're just going to have to keep the power system we already had. We had a funny adventure. We blew up our base with nuclear missiles, but it was just a joke. I tried out a bunch of designs that don't work. Sometimes that's just what happens. You try a bunch of stuff, and turns out it doesn't work. So in the future, we will, if we come back to this, we will barrel up the water. Where are the barrels? I can never find these dumb things. They're in one of these menus, aren't they? Here, it's all these. They're right in front of me. Okay, so we will barrel them up, and that will, I think, solve the problem. It should solve the problem. And if we're going to be bringing everything in with robots anyway, we will have to do that, because we'll be scaling up our power a lot. And all that kind of stuff. And then we would have the robots bringing in the barrels. And then each of these guys, maybe, I haven't done any calculations on this, so I don't know how many of these we would actually need. But we would need to empty the water barrels and have them, like, go directly into there. I don't know the throughput that this can handle. I might need a lot of it. I'm going to have to think about it. Because it depends, I don't know what the throughput of this assembly machine is for water. So, like, if I hook it directly up to a tank, is it faster than if I hook it up to a normal pipe? I think probably, but I haven't tested it. We'll have to come up with some other solution, because this is not going to work. This is not happening. The 3.3K water at this end. These seem to be mostly doing okay, but you look at these where the water's getting sucked, they're very low. And once we get to the actual factory buildings, nothing. And my hunch is that there's just too many of these inventories connected next to each other to get from A to B. It's just too long of a distance for the pumps and the tanks. And the pipes, that might not be it, but that's my hunch. And so, that means that we're just here. Tell me, let me just, because these are valuable, let me just make sure we're not using more of those. Well, that's going to be the end of this series. A little bit anticlimactic, but at least we learned some stuff. We learned what works, what doesn't work. I've got a pretty successful factory. Let's go ahead and start more research just because. And I guess we'll go for mining productivity 47. Here is our finishing bonuses. We're on mining productivity 47, and I finished worker robot speed 11. Worker robot speed 12 costs 64,000 science. So that's like 40 rocket launches just for this one increment to get a little bit more speed out of your robots. I think they're already going pretty fast. But we'll see you, we're obviously not done with Factorio, so we'll see you in the next Factorio episode in a new location and a totally new situation, because we'll be using a fully modded mod pack of moddiness. But that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later. Bye-bye.